So like we saw earlier on one of the sort of Sparky Rotor machines, that particular tool was going to go on to what we're going to look at now, which is our compression silicon molding. That was a product that uses a silicon strap, maybe a smartwatch, maybe a kiddie's sort of toy like this. But here we've got two parallel systems. These are 120 ton press. Now, luckily we've got the right timing. We'll be able to see this coming up. So this is a heating system and a pressure system. And we'll be able to see this come up in a minute and hopefully be ejected out. And the guys will be able to load in the next, what we call slug of silicone. Now, each of the strips of silicone is carefully weighed, and that's very specific. Okay, so we'll be able to see that. So he's weighing each of those. Each of those is lucky at the moment, he's hitting it on target. But if it's slightly over, he'll trim some off. If it's slightly under, he'll add a little bit. Here we go, trimming a little bit off there. So basically what we're doing here is looking at the weight of the silicone. Now this is not injection molding. So as the tool comes out, it's basically got the impressions in the tool itself. So you'll lay the slugs of silicone into certain areas on the tool. As that then goes into the press, the cam section comes in and closes the tool. The weight or the sort of the pressure of the tool will then be held. Now this cycle can be up to 5 to 15 minutes depending on the size and the complexity of the product itself. And again, as that pressure is held, the tool is heated up. As it's heated up under that pressure, the silicon then solidifies, fluidizes, goes into, fills the actual cavities in the tool itself, and then it goes through a cooling phase where that stabilizes before it's pulled out. Now, when the tool comes out, you can't just pull this out. You need to use an air gun to actually blow the silicon out of the tool, otherwise it's easily ripped. So you can see here we've got some buttons. Okay, so you can see that as you can imagine pulling that out, you're just going to rip that apart. So what the guys will do, use an air gun in order to blow that out and pull it out gently. Okay, so you can see this is all scrap waste metal, silicone, not metal, and we'll be able to see that in the next step. Shut you up now. Okay. Now. So here we go. We've now got sort of the parts coming out. You can see them on the top there. What the guy's now doing is using a compressed air to actually blow that out instead of just pulling it out directly. There we go. That's still hot, so that will go into that holding chamber. And now we're just basically going to clean that off. We should be able to see him put the next slugs of silicone in. And you can see on that tool it's got a number of different cavities and different shapes. And we saw from that part that you pulled out, it's got different buttons and shapes and profiles for that one particular tool. So if you've laid those slugs in place, that'll go back into the clamp itself, heat it up, and now left for another 10 minutes. Let's go over to the next step. So we're now going to see where those particular components that came out of that tool are hand-painted. So what we're looking at here is the full sheet of products as it came out of the tool that we saw a minute ago. And what this skilled worker is doing here is manually taking out each of the components from the backing strip and making sure everything has got no flash or any excess material on. Now, as you can see, we've got two different parts there. We've got a simple O-ring, and we've got some sort of seal for a product. So again, manual labor. So we're going. This is another product that's come out of the process, and you can see it's a lot larger, a lot more of a complex shape. But again, it's not just the small things we can do, it's the larger silicon molding that we can handle. Now this is where that whole thing starts. We've got a silicon rolling. Now what this silicon rolling does is not just roll it for the sake of it, but it adds the color. So if we want to color match anything, the engineers or the technicians will take a color match and they'll add pigment to this, and they'll roll it and roll it and roll it until it's a consistent sort of color, and then they'll put it on the roll. Once that roll is done, and then we can see the finished rolls over here. So we've got a selection of black, red, I guess, white, orange, dark blue. We've got some purple in the back there, pink. So we can color match any color you particularly want, generally from a specific round number or whatever color system you work to. So as long as we've got that color reference, then we'll be able to match it to your specification. Okay.